Hello guys, this is a quick training video on the new radio that came out yesterday. This is just a real rough video of the features on the radio. We'll get a more professional version out there as soon as possible. I just wanted to make sure that all the things that were covered today for the initial cruise is covered across the basis for the cruise out on the floor. This is our new Motorola APX 8000 radio XE version, extreme version. Retail value is about $14,000. We got a discounted cost around $9,000 per radio. It does a lot of different features from our initial radio that we had in the past. Does the UHF, VHF, 800 and 700 frequencies on this radio. We'll start off with some of the features that you guys are more familiar with. So we have our volume control here, our channel selector knob here. Those have not changed. So just going over quick on the radio, when you turn on the radio initially, it'll come up on the home screen. As you can see here on the version itself, it'll say RIV Fire version 19.5. That's the latest version in the radio with all the correct updated IDs. Primary one is the channel, and on this particular radio, it's COM2 is the ID.
Riverside from Water Tender 4.
So on the bottom here, you'll see some menu features on the bottom that we'll be going over here in a second. Nothing has really changed on the channel selection in Zone 1. So as you scroll through here, we still have primary 1, 2, let me get some of the glare out of there for you guys. All those are pretty much the same through the board. So if you have your radios in front of you, you can scroll through 1 through 16. Those are pretty much the same, with the exception of 15 and 16. Those have changed to emergency simplex and emergency command. In the past, it was RIC simplex and RIC command. We have since changed the verbiage to show emergency simplex and emergency command, just basically to match some policies that we have in play. Okay, nothing's really changed on that. As we go through, I'll show you here. If you hit this button here, which correlates with zone up and zone down, when you hit the zone up button, it'll go to the next zone, which is unified command. And within unified command is all our normal channels up into TAC 7. Once you switch over to 7 and above, it switches over to our V-Fire channels, our VTAC channels, CalCord and AirGuard, all within that unified command. You guys will probably see a policy dropping in the next month or so in regards to that. We just kind of wanted to front load that zone within the actual radio, so that way we don't have to go back and reprogram. Okay, zone up again will take you to the third zone, which is RVC West. This is every single channel that will be in and around Riverside City, with Riverside CAL FIRE responding in and around those areas for commercial fires, structure fires, traffic collisions, medical aids, what have you, anything that's non-brush fire related. So all those channels within that zone, CAL FIRE has given me that these are the channels that they will use in and around Riverside City. And within those, all of these tones have been preset to tone 2. That way you don't have to go through and select the tone. If for whatever reason you need to change the tone, there's some areas like in Lake Hills that they may have you change tone specifically for those areas. If you scroll to the right with the thumb control lever, right at the bottom where it says MPL, this center button, if you hit it, it'll bring up a list of tones, and then you can scroll through and select the tone that you need for that particular channel. Go back to preset and hit select, and it goes back to tone 2. So that's everything in RVC West. If you go hit the home button, it'll take you back to the correct zone screen. Hit zone up again, and it'll take you to RRU Wildland. CAL FIRE is giving me this zone, and this basically is every channel in and around Riverside City in regards to wildland and brush fire. So as you scroll through here, it'll have all the channels that they use in and around Riverside City for brush fires. Today was a super busy day as far as getting radios out, monthly checks. I appreciate everyone that came through as far as getting their radios in place and in service. And it was a Sunday on a holiday weekend, and we had a lot of brush fire incidences in the city, so definitely appreciate you guys coming out. For example, today on the brush fire, they use CDF TAC 10, which is in this radio now, so this kind of alleviates the issue of carrying the additional BK out on a wildland fire. You can easily, if you're assigned to that channel within that incident, you can switch over within this particular radio. So that was one of the channels that they used today. Going back to channel 1 and then going zone up again is Corona's zone. So most of you know that we have a mutual aid agreement with Corona now, and with that, these are the channels that they'll be utilizing in their city when we respond in to their city. So we have Corona Command 1, and all their tactical frequencies. Okay. Zone up again. We also have an agreement with San Bernardino County now. So every channel that they'll be utilizing within their city for mutual aid responses is in this zone. Okay. Anything beyond, they gave us 8 channels. Anything beyond 8 channels up to 16 will show unprogrammed. So if you get this tone, just turn back to, the beginning channels, and you'll see the beginning of the actual list. Zone up again. MedNet. We have MedNet 1 through 4. So from your old-time medics that didn't have cell phones, to contact Base Station Hospital, you press 170 and key the mic, and that will give you base station contact to the actual RCH. It doesn't work the greatest because you have to be within proximity of RCH. So cell phone is still your primary, but if we have an infrastructure failure or a catastrophe with cell phone service, then we're not going to have the ability to contact them. So that's why we added it into the radio as a backup. Zone up again will get you some weather channels. There's a bunch of weather channels within that zone, just for situational awareness. Zone up again gives you the miscellaneous zone. So we have Tyler Mall. We also have Ben Clark Training Centers channels, and they also use some merged channels over at Ben Clark. So if we have a multi-agency drill with them, we can utilize those channels with drill. UCR has a radio that's on Engine 4 and Engine 14. They're part of the county PSEC program, and as of right now, we're not programming those into this radio. Also, RPD is part of the PSEC program, and there'll be certain positions within our ranks that will have that ability. It's a cost item to us, and unfortunately, we're not going to be converting everyone over to listen to RPD because of the monthly cost services that we would have to be paying to listen to them. We are looking at some different long-term solutions that will be coming down the pipe hopefully shortly that will help alleviate some of that stuff. If you guys have any agencies that you think would be beneficial to add into this miscellaneous group, please let us know, and we can do some research on it. If you guys have some contacts at CBU or RCC where they give an agreement to us to talk on their channels, we can talk to their management, their people, and hopefully get an agreement to add their channels within this radio as well to help be a little bit more efficient on some of those box alarms or responses into those areas. So that's pretty much it as far as the zones, and then you cycle back through to our primary zone, and that's it on the zones themselves. So that's kind of some of the bigger changes that we have with this radio. We have the ability to talk across multiple frequencies, UHF, VHF, 800, 700 with this particular radio. So we'll probably tweak it, add more as we go along. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. So that was kind of the first topic we talked about, was the zones. The next topic is, you guys notice, especially company officers and acting captains, you only have one radio now. No longer are the days that we have a tactical radio and a command radio for first-in officers. We're trying to kind of get and progress to industry standards now with utilizing scan. Scan feature works great. We've tested this radio since February on multiple units, busy units that utilize a radio as a first-in officer. And we're going to go over the basics of how to set up the scan feature. Okay, so coming into the scan feature, there's a button here that says Scan List. Go ahead and press Scan List, and it'll bring up another menu that says Edit Scan. What we're telling people to do is go down to your tactical channel here and select what tactical channel that you're most likely be on. Let me see if I can get this a little bit darker so you guys can see better here. Okay, so as we see here, we want to select TAC4 as our scan channel. Okay, so when we select TAC4, you'll see at the top of the screen there's a little lightning bolt Z icon that popped up. That's basically letting me know that we're going to scan that channel. Okay, when I hit it again, you'll see that little lightning bolt adds an icon, a little blinking yellow dot icon next to the lightning bolt. That is probably the most important icon while setting this thing up as a scan feature. Okay, that indicates that that tactical channel is my priority channel that will supersede any other channel on the incident while multiple channels are talking at the same time. Once you have that TAC channel set as your priority, hit the home button, which is the button right here that has the home icon on it. It'll take you back out. And then on the top of your radio here, let's see if I can zoom in. There's a little switch that has a circle with the line through it, and then another circle with no line through it. Okay, to activate your scan feature, you turn that on, and an audio will come across saying scan. So we'll do that again. Scan off. Scan on. You'll see the lightning bolt icon pop up as well. Okay. Let me darken it down so you can see the lightning bolt icon. And that indicates that you're scanning. Okay. On the display here, whatever channel that you have selected on the knob, so if the knob is on Command 2, you're listening to Command 2. Okay? And as you're listening to Command 2, you're also scanning on TAC4. Okay? When you arrive on scene and you have people switch to TAC4, as people communicate on TAC4, it'll come up as you're listening on TAC4. Okay? If 2 and 4 communicate at the exact same time, because 4 has been set as your priority channel, 4 will take precedence over 2. That's most important as your first due officer, is you want to make sure that you listen to everybody on scene more than AMR being on scene on channel 2 or requesting a tow truck on channel 2. Okay? You need to hear everything that's happening on that TAC channel as a first due officer. Okay? Initially, you'll be able to use this radio. The big button is going to be linked to the channel control selector, so it's selected to 2. And the little button is your second push to talk for your TAC4. So if you need to talk on TAC4, it's this little button. Command 2 is a big button. Okay? So you'll see here, I'm listening on 2, and I'll press the small button. You'll see it revert to my priority channel. Okay? And that's how I talk on TAC4. If I need to talk on 2, I hit the big button and I talk on 2. Okay? At any point in time, if there's a long dispatch dissertation on Command 2 that's happening and someone comes up on 4, 4 is going to supersede 2 and step on 2 to give you that important traffic of your incident that you're running. Okay? Vice versa is if you have someone that's very long-winded on the tactical channel and you need to get out on command, all you do is you come over here and you press your command 2 button, which will supersede the engineer and firefighter talking on TAC 4, so you can ask for an additional alarm or ask for them to cancel the balance of the assignment because you can handle. Okay? So that's all based upon, in your scan list, setting that up as your priority channel. So as you scroll down here and I go to TAC 4, you can see up in the top of the display I have the Z with the blinking light as my priority. Okay? So that is how you set your tactical channel as your priority. As you get more comfortable with this and you get more fluid, you'll be able to, when you respond to, say, a traffic collision, you can scroll down, switch your priority to TAC 6, select, you get the lightning bolt up top, you get the glare out of there, hit it again, and then that make that TAC 6 my priority. Okay? Or now we get a brush fire and I want to switch my priority channel to VTAC 11. If I push the thumb control to the right, I jump zones. So I'm in the Unified Command Zone, I'm in RVC West Zone, I'm in the Wildland Zone. I scroll down to VTAC 11, I select that, so I'm scanning, and I select it again, and now VTAC 11 is my priority, because now we have a bunch of units coming in, and I'm assigned to a division on VTAC, then that's going to be my priority channel, and I can still listen to the command channel of choice based upon the channel selector knob up top, whether the BC chooses 2 or 3. Okay? So that's in essence how we're utilizing the scan feature on the radio. Also on the HT mic, let me grab one for a second here. On the HT mic, you'll see that we also have a big button and a small button. So we have the big button on the command, small button is your priority channel. So on the HT mic, it emulates the actual radio as well. So that's our scan features. Okay. Another thing that you'll see is that has changed. I'll turn this scan feature off up top, and then we'll basically switch it over to TAC 6 for right now. Is the emergency trigger. So I'll keep this one here. Let me grab another radio. In the past, the emergency trigger would revert to channel 16. And so now what happens is if I key up the emergency trigger, the one on the right is going to be my trigger, and the one on the left is going to be my actual receiving radio. They're both on TAC 6. So when I hit the alarm, it sends emergency activation received COM 2, okay, and it keeps me on my tactical channel that I'm working. Okay, the only way to release that is to push and hold this orange button for approximately 5 seconds to release, or I key up the mic to let them know I'm okay. Test, I'm okay. Okay, so keying up the mic to let them know I'm okay, or I have an emergency, clears out that emergency and lets everyone know that I'm okay or I'm in a true dire emergency. What they found through research and data was a small percentage of rescues were happening from the RIC team, just based upon the RIC team being activated and the lag time that was happening. A higher percentage of rescuers from downed firefighters were happening with people within the vicinity. So we had changed the emergency trigger to lock that person on that channel and broadcasted the emergency to every single radio on scene on that particular channel. So the ratios of having someone right next to you or in a room that's assigned to a different tactical assignment are going to be a lot greater of them rescuing you than the RIC team based upon the data that's showing across the United States right now. So it keeps you on the channel that you're operating on. If you're on Command 2, when you hit the trigger, it'll go to dispatch, it'll go to IC and everybody else on Command 2. If you're on TAC 4, it goes to everybody on TAC 4. So you're going to get 21 plus people that are getting alarms on TAC 4 versus kind of the older way that we used to operate, where it would be the IC and the dispatcher who would get the alarm, plus it would move you to a completely separate channel and isolate you. And then it's up to the IC to basically mitigate the issue, whether or not he wants to continue with everyone on the tactical channel, move everyone off that's not involved. That's up to the discretion of the IC of how they're going to run and operate an emergency trigger with a downed firefighter. So that's more or less how the emergency trigger works in a nutshell. And there's more details that will be coming out as far as the comm book and the information that we'll have in there that'll give a little bit more detail of how that actually operates. Okay, so that's the emergency trigger. Some of the buttons on the side here, we have the priority button, which is your second push to talk, which is a purple one. You have the big button, which is whatever your channel selector knob is. You have this square dot button right here up top. So when you hit that, it basically illuminates a light on top of the display so you can see. And so we're on TAC 6 right now. All your TACs are green and all your commands are red and your primary is white. Okay, so those are your lights. So you push and hold that same button. If you don't like the way the script is on the screen, you push and hold it and it rotates it. So if it's the wrong way in your pocket or in the way that you're wearing it in your satchel, you can flip the script any way you want by pushing and holding. The bottom button here, if you push that button, it turns your Bluetooth on or off. Okay, and that's a feature that we'll have later on that with the Bluetooth microphones that are coming down the pipe. If you scroll to the right here, let me get some of this glare off. Scroll to the right here, you have profiles. You select the profile, leave it on extreme. Through testing over the last couple of months, we found firefighting activities most benefit with this radio being on extreme. There's some noise canceling features that work great on the radio in the extreme mode, so just go ahead and leave it on extreme. Bluetooth, this is how you're going to pair your Bluetooth devices to it. You're going to be seeing some Bluetooth voice amps coming out for the captains and engineers, and then eventually we'll be converting over the whole department over as far as employees having all Bluetooth voice amps for better communication. Location, if you hit this button, it gives you GPS coordinates exactly where you're at. So if you need it for an LZ or a water drop, what have you, you can give it to an airship or anyone that you need to give a GPS coordinates to. I haven't had time to play much with the GPS, so yeah, feel free to take a look at it and see any options that would be beneficial to our agency. And scrolling over, you have your battery info. Select that and it gives you all your battery info in there. You have your home button. For whatever reason, let's say for instance, I get mixed up. I have no idea what zone I'm in. If you push and hold the home button, it takes you back to your home zone. On the top here, there's an A, B, and C switch on the top. If you switch it to B, it locks the keypad. Switch it to A, it unlocks it. Switch it to C, it unlocks it. Switch it to B, it locks the keypad. And so when you go here to the keypad, if you push any of these, nothing changes on the radio. And then you just have to unlock it. Okay. Emergency trigger we went over. On the HT mic itself, the HT mic has a couple built-in things. We have now the channel selector knob on the top here. Focus. So you can change the channel on the top. The emergency trigger is also on the actual HT mic. There's a toggle switch to go up and down to turn the volume up and down on the side here. And then you have your two push-to-talks on this side. You push and hold this white button. It's a flashlight. So when it's connected to the radio, you push and hold it and it illuminates as a small flashlight. The one thing with the volume control and the channel selector knob on top here, whatever channel selector knob, whether it's the HT or the HT mic that you touch last, that's what it's going to revert to. So if the radio is on 4 and then you turn your channel selector knob to 2, it's going to change the radio to 2. Keep in mind the knob on the actual radio itself may still show 4, but the digital display is going to show 2. So whatever knob you touch last is what it's going to revert to. Same thing with volume. Turn the volume up on this, it's going to increase, but if you turn the volume down on the radio, it's going to decrease and default back to where you left it on the actual HT. So whatever that you touch last, whether it be the mic or the radio, is the default that it's going to grab. Other than that, that's all I have. Just kind of a quick down and dirty of the radio. Appreciate everyone's effort coming out today and switching out the radios. Appreciate Paul Young coming out and helping out the comm unit as far as getting the radios out in the field. Also, with that, additionally, you guys are going to be seeing in the inventory as well the new BK radio. So the new BK radio came out as well. I'm going to be sending out an instructional manual that CAL FIRE sent me. Everything that you guys know about BKs in the past, pretty much throw it out the window. It's a whole new generation BK. It's a new state standard that they're going to. I have the training manual from CAL FIRE I'll be sending out. The thing is an amazing radio. But to be honest with you, this is something that we're going to be using more or less on strike teams now. I see a lot of features in our newer radios that we'll be able to utilize internally with our city radios. And these radios are going to be more or less used on strike teams. The radio itself holds about 5,000 channels. The first 9 groups are command groups. Group 31 is probably the most important group, which is the Riverside County group. It has every single channel from Riverside County in there. And groups 51 through 55 are your cloning groups. So those are the groups that you're going to want to clone with. With that being said, I don't want to dig too deep into this because we're going to give a manual that's going to be sent out. I will be sending out a better video than this as well. I just wanted to kind of do a rough cut edit to send out to you guys for the next cruise coming on over the next couple days until we get everything out in the field. Once that's done and I get some time, we'll do a more professional video, a little bit more clear for you guys to see, and we'll have that included with the comm book and everything that goes along with that. Appreciate you guys' patience. I'm glad to get these radios out. I know we were in the hurt box for a while, but these radios should last us quite some time. We have a 3-year warranty on them. We also have plenty in reserve cash with the battalion chiefs on both sides of the city. So if you go out on overhead, we're going to have additional BK radios in their cache as well. And then additionally, we'll have a couple radios at the radio depot to swap out. So you have a newer generation radio if you need to send one in for repair. Also with the new Motorola radios, we've provided additional radios to cross-staffed apparatus. That way you're not running back and forth with those radios. Also, we've provided additional BKs to the cross-staff vehicles within the fleet. Keep in mind, we just did the frontline units today. There's many more radios to come to prevention and investigators and all the other key players in our agency to make us whole. I have plenty more radios, so don't feel that you have to scramble to get yours immediately. You are on the list, and everyone will get the radios that they need for their mission. Thank you, and I appreciate your guys' time. Call me if you have any questions or concern. Thanks. Bye.